So you want to change your almond shape to coffin. You've done it, haven't you? It's a little tricky. It stays a little chubby. Well, I'm going to share with you my pro tips on how to get that done right. Let's do some nails. Okay, so I've got this beautiful black almond nail on here. And honestly, it's a real tough decision not just to go ahead and do them all like this because I really like it. But I'm going to focus to my task here. Now, this beautiful almond is a really great shape. I love it. It's a perfect little almond. But we want to go coffin. So the first thing you want to do is establish the end of the nail and how coffin-y, I always call it, do you want to be. So if you take this nail here and you're thinking you'd like to go quite coffin-y. Now, when I say that, what I mean is how coffin-y do you want it to be? Do you want it to be extreme coffin or just a slight coffin or not quite as far? And really what determines that is the end of the nail. So here is the end of this nail. And I want to go, let's say I'm going to go coffin-y. I'm going to make a statement. I'm going to go quite coffin-y. That means how much do I take off the end? Well, not much if I'm going to keep the length pretty much what I want to do, right? You can do this with the e-file or you can do it with a hand file. I'm going to do this with a hand file right now because I'm not sure how much I really want to take off. So I am going to do that right now. I'm just going to take off the end. See that? Now that I can leave right there and that may be the end of my coffin. That's a very tiny end. So I'm going to have to draw an imaginary line from this side where my free edge begins, a straight line from this little tip here, from this corner to this corner. I'm going to draw a straight line. That is how coffin-y it's going to be. So if you can imagine that, you might say, that might be a little too coffin-y. So the shorter you go, the less coffin-y it's going to be, which means the less strong of the coffin shape you're going to put into it. So I like that, but I'm just going to go a little tad bit shorter. Now this is a coarse file, so where you're taking some off, as you saw, I could take the tip off, but it's not zipping it off like the e-file could really, and that's why I'm doing it with the hand file to make sure I don't zip it off and go, crap, I went too short. So I'm just going to take off a little bit more. I think that's what I want it to be. I think I like that. Okay. Yeah, that looks good to me. Okay, so it's like a very chubby coffin at this point, isn't it? So let's take our hand file. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to file this. I want to leave that corner. Do not touch that corner. But this is the free edge begins right here. Okay, looking down the end, the barrel of the nail. We're going to look right down there. You can see that kind of dried end. That is the end. Now this nail has no top coat on it. I deliberately did not put a top coat on it so we didn't have to deal with removing the top coat. I wanted to get into shaping right away. Now it is shiny because I did buff it up. There's no gel top coat on this. There's no clear coat on this. I actually built this nail with acrylic, black acrylic. So when I file it, you can see directly. We don't have to deal with the top coat. And I didn't want to file gel off. Usually you build nails in a pink or a nude, and it's hard to see when I'm filing. So I wanted to paint this black. So when I filed, you can just totally see exactly what corner I'm hitting. So this is a shiny. I got it shiny because I used a smooth and shine file, and I used the green side, and then I used the white side, which makes it nice and shiny. So we can work with a shiny coat. So we can really, you'll see when we get a little further when I start filing what difference that makes. So when I flip the nail up like this, and we're looking down at that barrel, looking down the barrel like this is going to change your nail coffin game. Bear with me. Stay with me now. I know it's kind of, when you look down the barrel, in a coffin in particular, when you go to file the sides, when we go sideways, it's going to be a fat muffin top. It's on top that's going to throw you off. And let me show you. Now, I need to file out some bulk here, but I do not want to touch this corner at all. And I'm taking it from where the free edge begins. So all this little belly fat in here has got to go. It's just got that little bulk. I'm going to exaggerate it. It's going woo, woo, like I'm totally exaggerating it, but in the nail world, you know, it looks small, but it's a big move. So don't touch that free edge and start that little U shape that's kind of dipping down there. From the top angle, we are trying to file just that bulge just that bulge right there. And we are trying to go into the corner. We're not removing the corner. Make it as straight as you can. See where I'm moving on the file? It's not the whole file, just focus on that one little area. Okay? Now, get a look. See how this side is much straighter? See that? See the other side is bulging? Right? We want to make that nice and straight on that side now. And again, I really wouldn't do this with an e-file unless you had a ton of it. E-files are for bulk. Hand files are for fine tuning. So you don't want to use your e-file to fine tune. So let's go on the other side. See that bulk? Same thing. Do not touch that corner. We're just hitting that bulky little bend in there. Okay, now we're getting more of a coffin shape. Do you see that? Now we got to focus on evenness. You see how this one seems to be more straighter? This one needs more work. It's not defined in this corner yet. So we're going to attack it a little bit more. I might have to turn the angle. Okay, so sometimes you have to look at it at a different angle because it's an optical illusion, right? You want to make sure that you're looking at the right angle. So I am going to go at it from this side now, looking at it more straight on so I can make the sides even. Okay, that's looking pretty darn good. There I go. I've got my coffin. So because the way we build an almond, we build it chubby on the sides. So when you take that side off from the aerial point of view, if you turn it sideways, you'll see now it's kind of drooping down a little. So now we want to go in there and just take it from here. Don't go all the way up the side in here. We just want to take it from here. Every shape begins at the free edge, no matter what shape you're doing. If it's a duck nail, you're flaring it at the free edge. If it's a coffin, you're tapering it in, starting at the free edge. All of our shapes start at the free edge. So I'm going to take this underside to make it not droop under there. Just from here to that tip again on the corner. See, now that's gone. Now I'm going to do that the same to this side. Now it's not much. There's not much on this side. I'll just take away a little bit. Okay, so now I can look at my coffin. I'm fine tuning so much. I'm not going to use the e-file in this situation. I could use the room. So I'm going to switch to my medium file because I don't want to take off as much now. I want to be careful because I'm really getting down to the fine tuning. That's why I don't need an e-file. So I'm looking at this from the top side and it's looking pretty good, but I'm still feeling it's like a little bulky in here. And I don't really like that. So even though you've done it straight on the sides, it's still a little bulky because it's a 3D. It's not a flat piece of paper. So we are seeing the product on top. We're seeing that when we look down. And if you turn the nail at all, you'll see some bulky points that you don't really like. That doesn't make it a true coffin. So watch with my hand file. I'm going to take off. I want to take off from here to about here, not touching that end at all. And I'm going to remove that bulk. See where it's nice and white, like dusty? That's why I made this a black nail, so we can totally see where it's coming off. That looks good. I'm going to wipe that away so you can totally see that's where I was filing. And now with this side, I'm going to do the same. I find a little bit bulky on the top side. I call it a muffin top on the nail because even though it is straight on the sides, if you looked at it this way, you can see a little bulk this way. So you're looking at it going, it is straight. I know my file's making it straight, but it still looks a little heavy on the top. So we're taking it off on the top side. So what you can do with the file is you're almost rolling the file over. Just one roll like that. I'm just going to show you that move. So one move, I'm just concentrating on rolling that over on the side into the apex, into the center of the nail. It's like I'm feathering the side to take away that bulk because coffins are very slender. We want to take away that bulk, right? And I'm going to go a little bit more on this side to make sure my coffin is seen and heard. So it's really hard to tell, but if I just bend it a little, you can see that black, shiny black really isn't touched. The end is left. I didn't touch it. I'm just shaving off the sides from this top side inward. So it's coming in from this side and it's coming in from this side, leaving the center pretty much untouched. You can see the center is pretty much clean. So I'm just feathering off the bulkiness so that coffin is much more precise. That really is the answer to your coffin problems. Okay, so I'm just going to clean it with alcohol so we can get rid of all the dust. So we can focus on our shape, because the silhouette is what's important here. Okay, that's a pretty nice coffin-y nail. I'm quite happy with that. Now, don't be fooled by a finger underneath being uneven, bulking out on the sides. If I pinch my finger closed, you can't see the bulk on there. So don't let that throw you off. It's an optical illusion. It can really throw you off. Some people's finger can be higher on this side and then lower on this side. Doesn't mean your coffin is off. It means their finger is off. Fingers aren't perfect. We're trying to put perfect things on imperfect fingers, right? So you just want to focus on the nail. And right now, this nail looks like a very structured, great coffin. So we have scratched that all up. So I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to use my sanding sponge and go over top of the whole thing. And I'm going to shine it back up and I'm going to take a picture of it because I don't want all the dusty bits to throw you off. You have to see it in full when it's all one color again. You're looking at a full silhouette. Okay, and then I'm going to use this Smooth and Shine. This is what makes it nice and shiny. It's perfect for something like this if you don't want to use a top coat. These are excellent for shining up natural nails as well. Okay, then I'm going to turn it over, and this is the shiny. Hear that squeak? That is the shiny, shining it up. Okay, so let me put a little dab of oil just to get rid of the dust, and let's take a picture of the silhouette of the two between the almond and the coffin, and you can see what we've done here. Let's take a look. So remember, we started with an almond, and with a few adjustments, you can change it to a coffin pretty quickly. And with the magic of your hand file, here's the difference. I hope that answers the confusion sometimes when it comes to coffin, to take that bulk away, to streamline. Think of the bottom and the top. Check out these other two shapes that I did too that might help answer some of your questions when it comes to these ones.